Hey, Husker fans, welcome back to the Husker Big Red YouTube channel. I'm Chris Peterson, and joining me as always is Danny Gillette. And we're here to talk some Nebraska football, hopefully some Nebraska basketball here after another win last night, getting to 4-0, beating good old Stony Brook. We got a lot of stuff kind of happening here. So, I saw obviously Nebraska volleyball is number one, the Nebraska wrestling team's in the top five. So, got a lot of things to be excited about. Hopefully, though, we can be excited about a bowl game this weekend, a bowl berth, a win over Wisconsin. So, Danny, it's like Thursday now. In the cycle of healing, are you to the point where you believe that Nebraska can win this game on Saturday?
Yeah, quite honestly, I was over the Maryland loss on Sunday or Monday. I mean, no sense worrying about it now. I mean, now we can only look forward. And although the roads may seem a bit curvy and windy, I still believe in this Nebraska football team. And I think it's going to come down to whether we just run the football. And Marcus Satterfield said that they want to get Emmett Johnson involved more consistently. That's all fine and dandy. Then freaking do it. No, all these press conferences sound good, Marcus Satterfield, but actually run the damn football with Emmett Johnson. And I know we're going to get into all that later, but that just popped into my head. And I hate starting off my day with anger and things like that. But Marcus Satterfield, if you listen to this podcast, which I'm sure you do, I'm sure it's your favorite one, run the damn ball.
Yeah, if you ran the damn ball, we'd still be going bowling. So, at any rate, before we get too much into this, you guys, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Get into the comment section, hit that like button. That helps us out, and let us know what you think, man. That's what we're here for, is to build a community of hardcore Husker fans. So, let us know what you think on the Huskers, and we will give you our feedback. I am still mad about not, the pass call. I'm mad that they passed it on first down. So, I'm still upset about that. And frankly, I didn't, when Matt Rule, I thought when he was sitting there talking about the play call, I don't know if you saw that, but, he was like trying to explain the play call to the press, like how it was supposed to. I just thought that was stupid. I was like, what are you doing? Like, just admit that you made a mistake and move on with it. Like, I just didn't understand. He's like, well, if it was executed correctly, it would have worked. And it's like, dude, you literally have the worst quarterback play in the country. Like, shut up and admit that you made a mistake and correct it and do a better job. Like the past few press conferences for Matt Rule, I guess what it's telling me is that the pressure is getting to him. He's blaming the refs. He's talking about, just the thing he said about the in-person scouting with Michigan, like that. I mean, come on, man. Like, you didn't lose to Michigan by Michigan didn't even have to play its starters in the fourth quarter. It had nothing to do with scouting. Like, come on. Like, it just, to me, it seems like the pressure is getting to Matt Rule a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is an easy place to coach. I wouldn't want to do it. And I was just looking for an article I did earlier this week, talking about keeping Marcus Satterfield, and I believe the last multi-year offensive coordinator that we've had is Troy Walters. So it's been a damn long time since we've had consistency on offense, and I don't know if you want to veer into this. I mean, maybe we can a little bit, but I don't want Marcus Satterfield fired right now. Does he make some head-scratching decisions? Absolutely. But getting another offensive coordinator for this program, I'm not, you know, we have to see what he does next year, but we need
Yeah.
stability. And whether or not you like Marcus Satterfield, nobody has time to build a room in 1 year. If anybody thinks that a new offensive coordinator is going to be a patchwork fix, and you know, it may be, but at the same time, we've already tried that. And at some point, you just got to stick with what you got, as far as assistant coaches are concerned.
Yeah, I don't I agree with Matt Rule. I don't think that firing Marcus Satterfield's gonna be the problem. And because I don't, yeah, like the play call wasn't great, but like at the same time, I mean, Matt Rule said it though too. He owns everything that happens on the field. He should have told Marcus Satterfield to run the ball. He knows that. He said that. So I mean, he has taken ownership of it. I just thought that the whole explaining of the plays was a little ridiculous. It's like, yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot of people, could explain how plays are supposed to work. It's like Scott Frost could have sat up there and explained how that onside kick against Northwestern was supposed to work. It's like we all got it, but it didn't work. So what they need to do is find players who can make it work. And that's the biggest issue right now. Is it's not about to me, it's not about the plays, it's about the players. Okay. And they don't have the quarterback to execute this system. And they don't have the receivers that they need, that they just aren't seasoned enough. And that's my biggest issue, is that they should have known that and said, okay, like, what's our best group in this game? Offensive line. I mean, Matt Rule even talked about that was the best the offensive lines played. I mean, everybody's talked about that mostly. So it's like, Emmett Johnson's had his best game. Your offensive line's having one of their best games. Your defense is having one of your best games, and you chose to put the game in the hands of your quarterback. That's what I have a problem with. And so, but I think that they realize that. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't make a mistake as a coaching staff and bounce back from it, because everybody makes mistakes. And that's, whether you're Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, every single coach, has had games where, because that's the thing is coaches don't win games, basically. Players win games. Coaches lose games, and that's why
Agree.
coaches get themselves fired, anyway. But
And
looking ahead to the,
oh, good.
oh, no, go ahead. Before I get ranting too much, but
There were some out there that said this was on par with Scott Frost's decision to onside kick against Northwestern. I actually think you might have been one of them. And me personally, I think that's absolutely crazy. Scott Frost's decision to onside kick at Northwestern was just a microcosm of, since we're not monetized yet, that he didn't give a shit about anything in terms of personnel or game day preparation. I mean, that was just a bad play call by Mark Satterfield and Matt Rule. I don't think it was on par with the onside kick, because if you ask me, what play what play sums up the Scott Frost regime, that onside kick is a pretty good kind of encapsulation of how this team just didn't care under his watch. Now, I'm not excusing the Illinois play, but I thought some of the comparisons between the Illinois game and that Northwestern play were a little kind of crazy to me. Honestly, that's just my personal opinion.
the Maryland, you mean?
Oh yeah, sorry, Maryland. Hopefully not Wisconsin. Yeah,
No, I mean, I hope that it's not. I
yeah,
guess the reason that I'm saying that it reminds me of that, and I hope that I'm wrong, is because, like, right now I'm having like this V for Vendetta, like future, like looking into the future, this horrible, like, okay, so here's where I had this nightmare scenario, right? Is we had a chance to get 6 wins in that game, and we blew it because we were really, really stupid. I mean, really stupid. And so then if you lose these next 2 games, right? Okay, which is a very real possibility that happens. Now you're going into next season. Now you've got this ginormous pressure keg, and this season's a failure. I don't care what anybody says. This season is a massive failure if you lose your last 4 games. So then you're going into next season where 6 wins is the 6-7 wins is the mark, and we know the schedule next year is not easy. There is not a quarterback in this program right now capable of leading this team to 6 wins next year. That does not exist. And you can put out these fancy lists of transfer portal names and all that, but if you miss on a quarterback next year, this team is not going bowling again. And if Matt Rule doesn't get this team to a bowl game next year, then he's on the hot seat going into 2025. And that's just, it's not a good place to be. And then you're already sitting at 2025, and then opposing teams are being like, to your recruits, I don't know, man, Matt Rule, I'm not sure if he's going to be there, da. That's what happened to Scott Frost. And then he started losing the top recruits in the state, and then the pressure got to him, and then everything went downhill. They couldn't get over the hump. I mean, it's just, I'm not saying that, it's going to happen, but it's not that far-fetched. Like, Matt Rule has to win one of these last 2 games. Like, he just has to, or this entire thing, like, to me, it's just, he's going to be on thin ice already going into next season unless you win one of these 2 games. And it just I thought, but to me, like, at the end of the day, like, I cannot understand a coach putting the ball in the hands of his worst player. That just does not make any freaking sense to me. And I'm not trying to rip Chuba Purdy or anything else. I'm just looking at the course of the game, right? If you want to rank the strengths of the Nebraska football team, the quarterback position is at the very, 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 very bottom right now. You've got your defense, your offensive line, your running game. I just do not understand trusting those guys. So that's why I equate it to the onside kick and what the ramifications of it could be. Because if they don't make a bowl game this year, like, it's just, it could turn this entire thing on its head. And I don't want it to go that way. So I hope that they can win one of these last 2 games, and then they'll put that whole thing to bed, honestly.
yeah, and then of course, then as the pressure ramps up, and if Nebraska doesn't produce, then we go through another head coaching cycle and yada yada yada. It's interesting that Trev
But
Alberts. Go ahead.
Well, I just sorry, but like you're right, it's not comparable though, and there's it's so much different. I'm just like it's just yeah, it's because I
I
have
understand where you're coming
PTSD.
from. No,
But
me too.
that's out. But I'm just trying to explain it.
Yeah,
Like if I didn't have that PTSD from before, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Like you're saying, if it was just a normal, like if you didn't look at any of the past seasons and you just looked down this one season, it wouldn't be that problem. But the issue is that that's the issue for Nebraska is everything is under this magnifying microscope because we have had so little success. But I did like the hire of Trev Alberts. I know that you were going to talk about that. Sorry.
I was gonna say honestly, if any game gave me PTSD, it was the Minnesota game. I mean, that one was like, oh no, not again. But no. Anyway, the hiring or the extension rather of Trev Alberts. I'm not sure what his initial contract was, but I know it goes through 2031, and I believe Matt Rule signed an 8-year deal, including this season. So that would be wouldn't that end in 2031 as well?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's
I
kind of
believe so. Yeah.
interesting. That's basically, in a perfect world, hitching, putting Matt Rule and Trev Alberts together for the future and both extensions right out at the same time. It's kind of interesting how that lined up. So,
And
but
I was just gonna say, I think it's smart at least because, like, at the very least, you've got the administration and the head coach. They are unified and they're working in the same direction. They're on the same page. So I think that's one of the positive things that Nebraska has going for it. So I know that Trev, obviously, like the football program, he still has to get it there, but he believes in Matt Rule, and I think that the Nebraska administration just didn't want Trev to get hired away somewhere else. So it was a good move. He's a good
yeah,
AD, and everything really that he. I'm not going to say it's turned to gold, but I mean he's done. I mean he's got the volley. He had volleyball day. He's had a lot of really good, successful things. The renovations are coming through. He got Matt Rule hired. Matt Rule needs to succeed. Obviously, that's the big thing, kind of hanging over this entire athletic department. But Trev is doing all the right steps that he can take. He can't actually go out there and play on the field, but he's done everything he can to put Nebraska in a position to succeed.
and he also gave a vote of confidence to Fred Hoiberg back in February. So I mean, he is kind of you know, getting involved in Nebraska athletics, which I like to see because he's not too overbearing, but you can tell he cares and wants his programs to do well. Bill Moose, I liked to call him the King of England because to me he just was more of a figurehead than an actual athletic director. But I'm glad that Trev is going to be here for the long term. I think he is also very, you know, privy and savvy when it comes to NIL and the future landscape of college athletics. So I'd like to see more efforts with NIL. I know that's not all on him, but I'm hoping he can help kind of grow those efforts in the future. And it's just nice to have stability within the athletic department and to know that you're going to have somebody that with already a track record of success since he's been here that will be able to continue for the foreseeable future. Because quite honestly, the athletic department prior to Trev did not have a ton of stability.
Yeah, and that leadership, that is really important. So it is vital that everybody's on the same page. So yeah, I think that it's a good move to
Mhm.
get Trev back, and I love Trev. I've loved Trev since he was one of my favorite players. Like he was playing when I was first really introduced to Husker football when I was like 5, 6 years old. So I waited in line for his autograph at the Hastings Mall for about 2.5 hours to shake his hand when I was about 7. It was awesome. So I'm glad that he's leading Nebraska football because I know that he understands what it means to the state of Nebraska. Um, so to shift, let's get to some Wisconsin a little bit here, which is this is the biggest question I think everybody's asking: who starts at quarterback? Now it sounds like that Chuba and Jeff Sims have been splitting reps this week in practice. Chuba's still banged up. Jeff Sims is the only healthy quarterback it seems like right now, and I don't think that Heinrich
I'm,
doesn't sound
I'm
like
sorry
he's
for
even
laughing, but
practicing.
that sounds so scary. That's just sounds so scary. Either way, you got Chuba who's battling through an injury, then you have Jeff Sims who can overthrow a ball into the ocean, and it's just like, oh my god, how do we get here?
Yeah,
And
how did like I feel like Jeff Sims has like the yips, but for turnovers, like he just is like he's so afraid of turning it over, like he just can't help it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what to, and I don't know how you coach a guy out of that. Like I really don't know at this point what this coaching staff outside of not throwing the ball, like I don't know what you do.
Well, here's my thing, like, with not to rehash that play call against Maryland, but teams are stacking the box against us now. They're starting to realize that, hey,
Mhm.
all they can do is run the football.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what Wisconsin does in terms of how to stop our rushing attack. I don't want to see as many quarterback runs. I do think Sims is a little bit of a better runner than Hyberg, to be honest with you. But I mean, I would like to see, you know, let's see, how do I want to say this? I want to see more intermediate route patterns, not deep shots. Because for what it's worth, even though Sims did have the turnover problems, he looked pretty good when he was throwing like intermediate routes in the middle of the field. And Chuba has a quick release to kind of talk about Chubb a little bit. He has that quick release that also kind of, serves well towards the middle of the field. I don't want really any deep routes. Let's not do that, please, please, please. But you know, intermediate routes I think are going to be the way to go. And quite honestly, I mean, just hold our breath and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Sims is, he started off okay. I mean, he hit like
Yeah,
his first like 6 or 7 passes, and I was like sitting there and being like, "Oh man, maybe he finally like figured it out." And then it's like, "Oh nope," and then that's the thing is like he can play well. He just I don't know why he can't, it would be not like here's my thing is I want Jeff to run, but I don't what I don't want anymore is like they can't just run him into a wall. Like he clearly has ball protection issues. So stop trying to make him like a power runner. But what I
well, it's the same thing they did with Harburg too. Honestly,
yeah, and it's just like I mean, and with Harburg, I can understand a little bit, like because I mean, like I think he enjoys running into people.
yeah, he
But
does.
Sims just isn't that kind of. I mean, he can do it, but it's like I and I don't know how to do this, but I feel like the best way it would be nice to get Sims like some undesigned quarterback runs, like drop back, just kind of like breaking the pocket and running, where there's not quite it's so much congestion, but there's not really a way to make that happen. Obviously, you can't really plan for that stuff, and you don't want to be throwing the football because I don't know. I'm not sure how. Like that's what I'm trying to think of this game is I'm not sure how Nebraska's going to get like 10 to 14 points. Like I don't know how they're even going to get. I don't know how they're going to get points at all. Like I
Yeah,
mean, I just am really not sure. I mean, Emmett Johnson, like maybe they get some trick plays. I don't know. And I mean, I could say the same for Wisconsin. I mean, Tanner Mordecai is going to play, but he's thrown 3 touchdown passes all year. Braylon Allen, he's got a high ankle sprain. They thought he was going to play last week. He saw action on the first 2 series, and then he got 3 carries, and that was it. And they ran for under 100 yards against Northwestern. So, I mean, if Braylon Allen's not out there, I don't know how they're going to move the ball either. So, I mean, this might be I don't know, man. This might be one of the ugliest games. Like, maybe not. And then watch like Tanner Mordecai and Jeff Sims like start, and they like both put up 30. Like
Jeff Sims throws for 5 touchdowns, and
yeah. You never know what the hell's going to happen in college football, but this game to me feels like another 13-10, and that's like every game Nebraska plays now because our offense is just horrible. But I mean, you just have to find a way to survive this game and get to 6 wins. Like it would be so huge to do it before Iowa. Like that's a lot of pressure. And we've been in that situation
for
before
everybody, yeah.
and we've been in that situation a couple times in the Frost era where we just needed that last win to get to 6. And it just seems like it never like Iowa will be motivated to make sure we don't get that, especially after last year, like yeah, I mean, it would be so much different to feel going into this game 6-4. But at any rate, I mean, Wisconsin is not playing good football either. I mean, they've
No.
lost to Northwestern. They lost to Indiana 2 weeks ago. They nearly lost to Illinois. So they've lost 3 games in a row, and I don't think they've scored more than 10 points in any of those games. So their offense is really struggling
So the Luke
too.
Fickle era is kind of off to a rocky start as well. But shout out to David Braun, man. He deserves
Yeah.
the head coach title. He really does. I thought he did, all things considered, a good job against us, and I'm glad to see he's being rewarded for his efforts because he's done a really good job. So shout out to him.
What's wild is so they play Purdue this weekend at home, and if they win that game, they're going bowling, and that would be he deserves Big Ten Coach of the Year. I don't care what anybody
Yeah,
else says or
100%.
does.
Yep.
Big Ten Coach of the Year right there. That's incredible. I didn't think they were going to win a game in the Big Ten conference. So
Neither
for
did I.
them to maybe win 4, like that's incredible. Um,
100%. Yeah.
So hopefully, though, I mean, I still believe in this team. I especially believe in our defense, and that's where I'm hoping that they can get some turnovers. I think that this is really going to be where taking care of the football is going to be paramount because, neither team is going to, I would be surprised if either team got 300 yards of total offense. I really would. So, I mean, whoever gets, it's going to be a bad punt. It's going to be, a fumble and interception. If Nebraska is -3, if Nebraska turns the ball over 5 times in this game, like they're definitely going to lose. I mean, you just cannot do that crap anymore. So, for once, I would love to see this team play a Big Ten game and not turn the football over because I think if they do that, they'll win. I absolutely believe that.
Yeah, then maybe we'll see unicorns after the game or something. But yeah, for me,
Yeah. Maybe
I
we
think
should just punt it on every like third down. just, just like surprise, just like have Bushini out there as fullback and then drop him back and just surprise, and then maybe it'll like hit somebody and we can get the ball that way.
the messed up thing about our interceptions is that some of them have been so far off the mark that they have served as like,
Yeah.
kind of makeshift punts. So
Yeah, like the one Hyberg threw. I'm also still pissed off about the Tommy Hill pass interference on that last drive, the third
that was
down. So
that was bullshit.
I didn't see that because I was I wasn't watching I was working while I was watching the game, so I didn't see that play. And like when I saw it on Twitter, I was like, are you freaking kidding me that he got called for? I mean, that's just like what a bailout call.
Yep.
So I mean, it seems like
But
everything in the god dang universe just goes against Nebraska sometimes, man. It's just like I can feel the supernatural forces trying to keep us from a bowl game. Like, what is going on?
and like
But
I know you don't like real complain about the refs, and yes, it's a weak look, but you got the Malachi Coleman non-pass interference call. You have the helmet-to-helmet contact from that same game against Heinrich Hyberg that wasn't called. But anyway, not to go down that rabbit hole because we
I
could
mean,
spend all.
I like complaining about the
Yeah,
refs plenty. I mean, I'm happy that Matt Rule said it. I just think that it maybe wasn't. I don't think he meant it that way, but I
no,
just
I mean he does
you
have a
know,
point. Honestly, he really
I
does.
mean, Big Ten refs they cost teams every single year.
In
I
all
mean,
sports, by the way.
I hate Iowa, but that Cooper DeJean where that fair catch was called off, that was a bullshit call. That was horrible. So I mean, that's my
The
opinion.
basketball game. I mean that was
You know,
bullshit too, and
yeah,
I'm glad we're not monetized yet because then I can say all this stuff. But no, I mean, I think for me, just key the game, run the damn ball. I mean, Mark Satterfield talked about getting Emmett Johnson more touches and trying to get him going more. He had 17 carries last week against Maryland. I want to see that number up to 25, 30 at the very least. Just run the ball, control the clock, please, and you can run the ball with the quarterbacks, but I'd like to see just the running backs do their thing and because quite honestly, I think that running the quarterback so much also takes a toll on the quarterbacks as well. So I'd love to see them run the ball, and then I guess on defense, just third down stops. I mean, they did a little bit of a better job last time, but by the end of the game, I mean they were exhausted, and granted that was due to being on the field so much after our 75,000 interceptions, but you know, they did have trouble early on stopping, Maryland on third down. So I'd like to see some third down improvement. And, if we just run the football, take care of the ball, stop them on third down, we should be good to go.
yeah. I think
Sounds good,
it's
doesn't it?
yeah, sounds good. Sounds easy. I think just honestly, I think the defense is going to play pretty well. I just think I think this one's going to come down to who wins the turnover battle. And right now, I just have zero confidence that Nebraska can win that battle. So that's kind of where I'm at. Are you ready for prediction time, or you want to save that for Saturday? What do you think?
We can do prediction time.
Okay,
I'll
prediction
I'll
before
I'll
we
let
get
you go first.
Okay, before we get to prediction time, because we did mean to cover this before, I did want to say on the recruiting front, there's not a ton of news, but Carlin Jones visiting Ohio State this weekend, which is kind of a concern. However, on the Husker Online chat yesterday, Sean Callahan had a message where he said that Carlin Jones gave him a text that said like "Go Big Red" or "No worries, go Big Red" or something. So hopefully
I have
that's
a screenshot here right now, and Jones. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. I know, but Jones said, It should have your attention, Callahan said, but Carlin messaged me this morning out of the blue and said, "Go Big Red has no worries." I mean, hell, if I had a chance to visit Ohio State, I would too. I mean, it's Ohio State. It's not like,
Yeah.
Saint, Puppy University. This is Ohio State we're talking about. So I'd go. I mean, that's what I don't get. All these people that are mad that kids are taking visits after they committed. Like, if you have a chance for a free visit to Notre Dame, like, why wouldn't you go? Get a free meal, free visit. But anyway, I mean, that's just my take on it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Larry Johnson, their D-line coach, is one of the best, so we'll see.
Yeah,
I mean, they're going to have the full court press, but maybe not as dire as maybe we thought. But we'll see. Hopefully,
yep,
we're about a month away from signing day, so we'll know one way or the other fairly quick. And so now to the prediction here for Saturday. Right now, looking at this quarterback situation, I don't know who it's going to be. I feel like we're gonna end up seeing Jeff Sims in this game due to the health of Chuba
yeah.
Purdy, and I don't trust Jeff Sims. I don't trust the Wisconsin quarterbacks either. But for whatever reason, this Nebraska team has turned the ball over more than any team in college football, and I just don't see that changing. So I think they turn the ball over 3 or 4 times and lose 13-10, unfortunately.
I was gonna say 13-10 too. Wow. So yeah, so this will come down to the Iowa game, and everybody will be nervous, and yeah, sounds like a recipe for fun times. But
Fun times.
13-10, my prediction. I don't think we're gonna see this offense move the ball much, and I'm gonna be happy to eat my words and be wrong, and I hope they win, 35-14, but 13-10, it's gonna be another rough day. At least it's not on Peacock, so that's good. Uh, and tip for any Big Ten fan who wants to watch on Peacock, if you watch it on your laptop, at least for me, it came in better. So I know some people are having streaming issues, but man, I miss the days of not having to pay for all these streaming services to watch games. Because even yesterday's basketball game was on Big Ten Plus, so it's like, what good does that do me?
Yeah, it's getting really annoying to have 27 streaming services to follow a program, but it is what it is, I guess.
Old men
But
yell at cloud, I suppose, but hey, whatever.
yeah, that's fine. But at any rate, folks, make sure that you guys subscribe to the Husker Big Red YouTube channel. We hope you appreciate our content. Make sure that you hit the like button, share it, get into the comment section. That all helps us out. We're trying to make sure we can get to that 1,000 subscriber mark and beyond. We'll be back on Saturday morning for our weekly chat this week. So if you missed us last week, sorry, I was on assignment covering some high
We
school
got
volleyball.
messages. Where was the show? Are you
Yeah.
guys okay? I'm like, yeah, Chris is just on assignment this weekend, and I
So
have our buddy Mitch. He said that if you're ever out again, he'll do it with me. So
all right, there we go. We'll have Mitch fill in next time. So see, we should have gotta talk to the community. We'll make sure that we let you guys know next time, and we'll have Mitch fill in for me. That'd be
because I
awesome.
think
So
we're gonna do probably some basketball ones. Honestly, if the team keeps going the way it's going, I mean, basketball is gonna be fun to cover.
yeah, they're playing good right now. K-State came back. Juwan Gary came back last night, and he scored like 18 or 19 points. I think 18, maybe 19 off the top of my head, but I mean he was 8 of 11. So I mean after he was, his kind of coming back from injury was one of the things I was worried about. So I mean, you add him to this mix, and this team is really deep. It's big, and it's built to play in the Big Ten. So I'm excited for Saturday actually too. A big game against Oregon State, and it's in South Dakota. I forget what they call it. I want to call it the Barn, but it's where they played Oklahoma State a couple years ago. So it should be a really fun atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, crown them NCAA champions or anything, but I think this is a team that can make an NCAA tournament berth.
Yep. Well, at least we'll get our first Power Five opponent Saturday, so that'll give us a good taste of where the Huskers stand. But definitely, I mean, they're in the top. They're in the top 60 in the Ken Palm right now, so a lot to be excited about. So come chat with us on Saturday. Check out HuskerBigRed.com as well, and as always, go Big Red.
Go Big Red.